Good afternoon. This is Ron Mickens. Fraud upon the court. You know the topic. So you got to hang in there with me. Okay? The truth is in the details. Every once in a while, someone come along and decide to take a stand. Okay? Jerry Hill. He started it all. He's the Polk County State Attorney. He started it all. This fraud upon the court. He perpetrated it all. Okay? Jerry Hill. We went to him and we asked him to investigate the theft of our property. We pleaded with him. We demanded. Oh, we went to the sheriff's office. We went to him. We called him as many times as we could to demand that they investigate these people that we had no knowledge of defrauding our private real property. It was 5.5 months had passed before we learned anything at all about their fraudulent conveyance of our property. So, Jerry Hill told me that he was going to investigate. After a week or so, he sent me an affidavit and my wife an affidavit for us to sign. Okay? He was saying that Mrs. Canady had made a mistake. But when we checked this affidavit out, we saw and we discovered that this was a cover-up. It was a cover-up. It was not an investigation. It was a trick. It was a trick to educate or relieve Miss Canady and her co-conspirators from their crimes and their torts. It was a cover-up. It was a cover-up to permit or to allow the state attorney to circumvent doing his job, which was to what? Investigate, charge, prosecute, arrest, and imprison these people for stealing or defrauding our property. But he was protecting them. He was not protecting the victims. He didn't hear a word that we said to him. Now, stay with me, because this is the key. Jerry Hill, he asserted and maintained and perpetrated his fraudulent misrepresentation about Ron and Gloria Mickens transferred their property to Damron Construction Company. That is a fraudulent misrepresentation. That is a lie. But he's doing this to avoid, to avert, to omit conducting a fair and impartial investigation. In other words, he don't want to prosecute these people, arrest them, and put them in jail and punish their companies. So that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I have a total of 6 letters from this man, and they all have in them this fraudulent misrepresentation, but they all, just about his entire letters, it's just all lies. Okay? But he's there protecting them and not us, not society. He's covering up. He's covering up for what? He's covering up for the blood money. So, stay with me. Pursuant to the doctrines of respondeat superior and vicarious liability and subrogation, they are what? Co-conspirators. Because Stewart Title Guaranty Company is vicariously liable for its employees and agents' misconduct. They stand in the place of their employees and agents when they commit misconduct. So I'm going to call them what? Co-conspirators. Now, when Jerry Hill and Don Pell went to investigate, so-called investigate, Miss Canady confessed. She confessed to false notarization, false witnessing. A further investigation on our part proved that Miss Canady was wearing all of these hats. She was a title insurance agent. She was a closing agent. She was a notary public. She was an issuing agent. She was a title researcher. So we learned that Miss Canady had committed every crime that you could possibly commit, every crime and every tort, wearing all these umbrellas. And you learned that Jerry Hill, the state attorney, knew this like he knew the back of his hands. Okay, but here he is refusing to investigate, do a proper investigation. So Miss Canady and her co-conspirators, they what? They conspired and agreed to fraudulently violate Florida Statute 117, Florida Statute 117.05, Florida Statute 117.105, Florida Statute 117.107, Florida Statute 117.117, Florida Statute 68901, Florida Statute 812.014, Florida Statute 817.034, Florida Statute 831.01, Florida Statute 831.02, Florida Statute Chapter 65, Florida Statute Chapter 66, etc. All of these are statutory crimes that Miss Canady committed. These are felonies, okay? And under the respondeat superior vicarious liability doctrine and vicarious liability doctrine, they co-conspired and agreed to commit notaries, failure to validate signatures, malfeasance, and misfeasance in the conduct of their official duties, falsely or fraudulently took an acknowledgement, notary performance of prohibited acts, false witnessing a quitclaim deed, false notarizing a quitclaim deed, building houses under false pretenses, extortion, forgery, uttering a forged instrument, fraudulent conveyance, fraudulent encumbrance of our property with a mortgage, fraud in the inducement, fraudulent conversion of our title, mortgage fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, real estate fraud, slander of title, civil and criminal conspiracy, equitable estoppel, intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, fraud, civil theft, statutory fraud, organized fraud, scheme to defraud, racketeering, violation of RICO. Okay? Unequivocally, Mrs. Canady and her co-conspirators committed these crimes. And Jerry Hill knew it like the back of his hand. I hope you can see the cover up. And you remember, Miss Canady was a title insurance agent, a title researcher. She was the issuing agent, the heartbeat. She was a notary public, and she was a closing agent. So unequivocally, she committed all kinds of egregious crimes and torts. Jerry Hill, had to maintain and assert that lie to circumvent what? Doing his job, which was conducting a proper investigation and prosecuting these people, arresting them, and imprisoning them. But he was covering up for the blood money from the very beginning. Now we see that Jerry Hill misrepresentation that we transferred our property to Damron Construction Company was 100% inaccurate. It was 100% fake, frivolous, fraudulent. And the co-conspirators, which was Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, Highsmith, and the Damrons. Their confession, Miss Canady confession, Miss Rewis confessions, the Damrons confessions and admissions barred them, stopped them, precluded them from filing a complaint, from having a standing, from having a cause of action, from having a right to sue us. Now, Jerry Hill, now stay with me on this. Jerry Hill is the one that perpetrated that fraudulent, frivolous, fake complaint based on his fraudulent misrepresentation that we transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. That the Damrons and Stewart Title Guaranty Company and Canady and them could not allege that. They were barred as a matter of law. Jerry Hill fraudulently perpetrated this lawsuit. We were entitled to a judgment based on their what? Their confessions. There were no need or requirement for a trial. We were entitled to get a judgment based on our plea or a summary judgment, or just clearly a judgment as a matter of law. But Jerry Hill got to get this thing in the court system. This is so he can have us maliciously prosecuted, and they can maliciously misuse and abuse the legal process. But as you know, when we went to court, Judge Strickland ruled in favor of our fraud, cancellation of deed, quiet title, ejectment, and breach of construction contract. Found Damron Construction Company guilty of fraud and misrepresenting the nature of a deed, fraud in the inducement, fraud in the execution of the quitclaim deed, fraud in the formation and the performance of the construction contract, and he fraudulently obtained and maintained fee simple, a claim to fee simple title to our property. And that also proves what? That Jerry Hill had failed to do his job to conduct a impartial and fair investigation. But it also shows, that we didn't have to go to trial. This matter could have been resolved just based on the plea. But however, they are perpetrating this so-called litigation to obstruct a criminal investigation. Okay, this is Jerry Hill. In other words, and I'm just telling you just like this, he's already collecting the blood money. Oh, he should be, as a prosecutor, he should have been, somewhat thrilled if he was honest, because he was already investigating Stewart Title of Polk and Rewis and Highsmith and other Jane Does for organized fraud and scheme to defraud. But here you got Miss Canady and her conspirators involved in crimes all the way up to RICO, and he's sending us an affidavit to extricate them from their crimes and their torts. So I know you see the cover up. I know you see the cover up. Okay? It's all about protecting them and collecting the blood money. He would have to punish those companies also, but he's collecting the money that we were entitled to. Stewart Title Information Service, Stewart Title Guaranty Company was subject to have their license uh, revoked. It was subject to have their businesses forfeited. Okay, so Jerry Hill decided to sacrifice us to collect the blood money. So that's what it's all about. When he get in the court and now when Judge Strickland ruled in our favor, Judge Strickland tried to extricate him because of his fraud and because we had prevailed on the merits of our claim. Now, Judge Strickland got to try to save him from being prosecuted and sent to jail. So that's why he came up with his own personal, unique judgment outside the law without jurisdiction. That is why Judge Moore came up with her material misrepresentation, stating that we could have been much clearer about what our desire was in our attempt when it came to rescission of the construction contract. In other words, trying to trick us into giving our consent to trade or exchange all our claim for damages in exchange for one claim where we would have to pay the losing parties. So Jerry Hill is having to rely on the judge's fraud upon the court to save himself, along with his co-conspirators now, from being criminally prosecuted. So this is what it's all about. It's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. They denied and deprived us of our life, liberty, and property without benefit of due process. Okay? We can't even exercise our free will to enter, occupy, possess, control, or enjoy our property. Because they got all of these fraudulent, frivolous, fake orders that they have created to lock us up or have us murdered if we exercise our constitutional and civil rights. So you have to stay with me because, I'm just breaking it down to you. I'm breaking it down to you. It was all about the cover. He had to do everything that he could to avoid, to circumvent, to omit, to avert conducting a fundamental, fair, impartial investigation, charging, prosecute, arrest, and imprisoning the Damron, Canady, Rewis for their crimes, and having to punish their companies. Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, and Rewis. Okay. And remember, he was already prosecuting Highsmith, who was the president, and Rewis for organized fraud, for schemes to the fraud. Tell me, I know you understand that what Miss Canady and them was doing, they were scheming. They were stealing from Stewart Title. Oh, they were stealing from us. They had set us up to steal almost $100,000. And then there was another party that we were aware of, said that Alan Damron, the Damrons, them had stole about $100,000 from them. And then subsequent to all of this, he was alleged of stealing from another family. Okay? But it's all It was all about Jerry Hill covering up. So you got to stay with me because I'm going to be back. You got to subscribe. You got to share. In the words of Anna B. Wells, in order to correct wrongs, you got to shine the light of truth upon them. So stay with me. I'll see you the next time.